Our favorite planet is slowing up, knowing that it's going to go in reverse sometime soon here.
Yep, it is. And the good news is it's not Mercury. The bad news is it's Mars. And Mars does this. Mars is the planet that we identify our ego with. It's the planet that where we project our energies out into the world. And normally Mars stays in a sign for 6 weeks, but every 22 months or 2 years or so, Mars, we catch up to it. It seems to stop its forward motion and move backwards for 2 months. So it goes retrograde at the end of this week, and then it does not go direct until the 30th of June, which is an inordinately long time. And what you're supposed to do is to take a look at projects you've associated your ego with and put a lot of energy into it and see what's going to work and what's not going to work. And during the retrograde period, the stuff that you threw up on the wall that's not going to stick falls off. And so it's good in that regard, but man, it's frustrating while you're in it. So I thought for all 12 signs I would tell them where they can expect this energy.
But it's not as bad as Mercury retrograde.
No, it's not as bad as Mercury retrograde, because you don't want to do anything during Mercury retrograde. During Mars retrograde, it's a good time, as long as you take the big picture of it and say, okay, what should not work in this?
Well, tell us.
Yes, for Aries, it's going to be in the 9th house of legal matters, educational matters, important matters at a distance that they have associated a whole lot of effort and energy with, and that will appear to go backwards because part of their ideas are not so cool and not really kosher, and that's what will shake out. For Tauruses, it's about spending, and I even hate to say it because I love Pat so much, a boatload of money on unanticipated expenses. It's the kind of thing where you go to upgrade one thing and then you find out you have to upgrade all of it. And it's nickels and diming to death on unanticipated expenses. Yeah, not cool. For Geminis, it's in their 7th house of partners and open enemies. And we have a lot of politicians that are Geminis, and their finger pointing and waving is just starting. If you think the attacks were bad before, they tend to focus on their targets now. And Geminis really find out who is with them and who is against them. For Cancers, it's in their 6th house of work. And responsibility, and Cancers have to be careful because they're going to get what they ask for, but it's a huge amount of effort, it's a huge amount of responsibility, and I don't think they're ready for any of that, and they will find out just how big a bite they're taking as this retrograde goes on. For Leos, it's really a good place to retrograde. It's in your 5th house of love affairs, children, sports, amusements, pleasures, entertainment. Anything that's fun to do, that is a product of your passion and your love is what you're going to try to put into motion. And not all of it's going to work, but a lot of it's going to be a ton of fun. Woo-hoo. So it's a good time to be a Leo with this retrograde. Yeah. For Virgos, not so much. For Virgos, it's in their 4th house of home. And they are trying to dig stuff up at home. They're trying to solidify their home and make sure they have a clear-cut understanding of what is and isn't theirs and what they can and cannot do, and so it's going to be a bit of a challenge for Virgos to hear the word no, and I hate that word myself. For Libras, it's in their 3rd house of day-to-day living, so they too have a fairly easy time with this, to where they get to do something that increases the pace of their day-to-day living, but it's not a permanent thing. It's sort of like a temporary thing where you have to either take some sort of class or some sort of course or something that you can do for 2 months, and then you're qualified to go off and do the rest of it. For Scorpio, it's in their 2nd house of money, and much like Taurus, they're spending a boatload of money. And for Scorpios, I think they're going to be investing in a business or in themselves, and sometimes it takes money to make money. They just have to be careful not to throw good money after bad. For Sagittarians, Mars is in their sign, and they are fired up. Saturn's in their sign as well, and they are trying to break free of some sort of restrictive circumstance, something that has pinned their arms or stopped their freedom of movement, and over the next 2 months they find their way out with that, which is cool for them. For Capricorns, it is in their 12th house, and every last one of their fears is manifesting. It's a very fearful time. They are not looking at all the positive things that can happen, but what are the negative things that can happen and how bad can it be? And it's pretty scary, but there are other things that make it not as bad. For Aquarians, it's in their 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. Time to tap all of your friends on the shoulders and say, I need your help, because it's going to take the group to bring the Aquarian what they want. And then for the last sign, Pisces, career and public standing. Whatever the boss wants, give it to them. This is no time to argue. This is no time to stand your ground. This is a good time to say, yes, sir, what is it that you want, and how can I accommodate you? So that's tomorrow's news for the 12 signs of the zodiac, with Mars slowing up and getting ready to go retrograde for the next 2 months.
See you next week.
Always a pleasure.